Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Nurdin. I'm trying to give a brief conclusion for our subject, namely world literature. Okay, so I got a few some understanding in this book. But first of all, I would like to tell you the synopsis of the story. So, as we know that the story is really famous. We're talking about the Sultan Shahryar and Princess Sarazad, where Sultan Shahryar turned cruel as a result of the betrayal and infidelity of his dear wife. Uh, why in this story he became the cruel in the story in this country? Because he looks his wife do the affairs with the other man, and then he want to he want to revenge and want to kill uh, the girl in the morning. With the cruel of the Sultan Shahryar, make the girl feel gripped with the fear. But unfortunately, there is a Princess Sarazad. She is really intelligent in this story. Uh, he want he She considers to marry with the Sultan Shahryar. After marrying, she tells the magical stories to her sister and her husband, namely Sultan Shahryar itself. After telling the magical stories, she makes the Sultan Shahryar really confused and curious of the story because because Princess Razak not at all tell uh, tell the story, the magical story to Sultan Shahryar. Uh, this this uh, this story always happen until until 1001 nights. Okay, I think that's all about the synopsis of the story. And then talking about the influence of Arabian Nights on English literature. Okay, I think the influence of Arabian Nights in English literature is embodied in the interest and reading of the translation of the Arabian Nights itself. Where, as we know that the Arabian Nights is a combination on fantasy with the soberly sensual grace of Eastern imagery, because in the Arabian stories had popularity in medieval English folklore. So, the one of literary is poets. These poets were exposed to the literary influence based on the Arabian Nights problem. They In medieval English they uh, taking the issue and the issue such as the economical issue, political issue. It based on the Arabian tales. And then so many authors in Ara in England in England take the their work and illusion contain about the problem from Arabian tales. Okay, but talking about the influence of Arabian Nights in English literature again, we it can divide it. It can divide into into three centuries, uh, such as 18th century, 19th century, and 20th century. Okay, in the first is 18th century. In 18th century, the Arabian Nights has popularly in as popularly in English folklore, where the framework of the story, such as the Daniel Defoe's by Robinson Crusoe, imitates the style of the Arabian Nights, where he portrays his life and adventure based on the problem and issue from the Arabian Nights. And then many author in the story, their writings contain about the illusion based on the Arab characters. And then because as we know that the Arabian Nights is a combination between three cultures such as Persia, Arab, and India, right? Okay, and then the second one is in 19th century. In 19th century, the Arabian Nights became tremendously popular in this century too, where The significant influence it based on the romantic models and romantic where the literary works that contain of the romantics deals with the romanticism deals with the issue and imagery, right? Imagery and figure of speech. It based on the Arabian Nights. So Arabian Nights became the one of literary work in England that really inspired of the literary work in in this century. So, and the last is for the 20th century. In the 20th century, Arabian Nights had popularity in English literature, where one can easily find element oriental or where one can easily oriental element in English literature based on the influence of Arabian tales. And then many literary figures such as Rudyard Kipling and Joseph Conrad, were all great with the admirers from Arabian tale with the Arabian tales or the story of 1001 Nights, and then their work uh, many inspired and contain about the Arabian tales issue and the problem is based on the Arabian tales. So I think that's all about my conclusion. Thank you so much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.